morning. Welcome to Pajama Talks. I'm really glad you're here this Sunday morning. So today, I guess I'm talking about something that has been over the course of my life, has been really kind of a sticking point and something that has made me choke a little bit. And that is fear. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about fear with relation to something that I have worked on over the past year, and maybe it can help you too. I would have to say that one of the best things I learned through my yoga teacher training at Yoga North was the idea that you get to make choices when confronted with fear. And you can choose to let your fear keep you contained, or you can push out against that fear and continue to kind of expand your edges outward. And I sat with that for a really long time, because I would have to say over the course of my life, I've been someone that really extremely pushes her edges outward. I do things that make me uncomfortable. One of my favorite people is Molly Mogren, and she did a whole website based on Eleanor Roosevelt's comment about, if you're afraid, do something that frightens you every day. I mangled that, paraphrased it, but you get the idea. I would have to say that on the whole, that's something that I have done. However, the stuff that I have really had a hard time leaning into has been around putting myself out there in a real and authentic way. You might be like, really? As I'm sitting here with, no makeup on and messy hair. But especially around stuff on my insides, putting my stuff on my insides, on my outsides, that has been a process for me. And it's been really hard for me. Creating and allowing myself to consider even that I could be a creator, a maker of things, seemed really audacious to me. It seemed, twofold. It just seemed really audacious. And second thing that it was really hard was when I write, I'm writing from my insides out. And that's really hard for me to share. Also, a little bit of the worrying about what people are going to say about my insides being out there. Do you feel this way? Do you ever feel this way? It kind of froze me into inaction for a really long time. So yesterday, over the course of the past year, I've leaned into that edge just as much as I could. As much as me jumping out of airplanes as a hobby, this was my year of creatively jumping out of airplanes. Because I could feel myself getting small. I could feel that this area was something that was important for me to participate in the conversation, and I was avoiding it. And I don't want to be that person. I always want to be pushing outward. And so the first thing I did was I did some research. I also hung around and really paid attention to creators that are fearlessly putting themselves out there. And I read things, I watched things, I learned how people did it. And so I wanted to share two of the resources that honestly helped me so much. And they're two books that I just love. And I feel a little bit like they are the male and the female of this idea around creating and putting forth stuff. And the first is called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. I thought it ironic and weird from the universe that I read this book around the same time that in yoga teacher training, we watched the movie The Legend of Bagger Vance, which is based on the Bhagavad Gita. The Legend of Bagger Vance is a book written by Steven Pressfield. It is beautiful. It is about creating. It's profound, about creating from a place of spirituality and connectedness. It was huge for me. The second book, which was for me a little more of the female aspect, but again, incredibly profound for me because I was reading it at the same time I was reading the Bhagavad Gita, which was around the idea of putting stuff out there, creating just to create, and not worrying about the results. In Western culture, we have this whole idea that if I don't sell XYZ amount of units, or if I don't, if people don't, if it's not accepted or celebrated, oh, and that can freeze you from creating. Second tool, Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. Her whole thing was, it's about the creating. It's about connecting with the divine and making the thing, even if it's a shell-covered frame, gluing shells onto frames, whatever your thing is, macrame, gardening, whatever your thing is, that is a place of divine connection. And putting it forth is a gift. And so between these two books, which I highly recommend, I decided that I was going to put my poetry, which I had kind of come and gone from over the years, and I definitely had not shared. It was a little too close to my bones. And I was also like, oh, it's got to be, I don't know, I self-judged it. So anyway, I decided that the first brave thing that I would do would be to do a Kickstarter, just to ask people to help me put it forth. That was scary in and of itself. Do people believe in me? Do people believe in me enough to part with a little bit of money? Do people, oh God, it was so uncomfortable, so horribly uncomfortable. And a first step for me, because then I had people that I was accountable to and people that were expecting something. This whole process has been an experience of pushing my edges outward. And it has been the most growth-filled year of leaning into my edges and pushing out, because that's what life is all about. Pushing outward and creating. And if you don't create something, I invite you to play with it. What does it look like? Does it mean grabbing your coloring books? Does it mean a pad of paper and a pencil? Does it mean doodling? Whatever it is, that space of creating is holy, holy space. So we came back into town from camping, and there were 2 packages in my mailbox. I started sweating literally from my armpits down to my hips. I immediately wanted to come for 8. Oh my God. Hard copy too. Holy crap. Like what's happening here? That I'm holding a book that I made. I don't even know what to say about it. But here's what I know. I'm going to put it out for the world, and I'm not going to worry about the results, because it's not about the results. It's about putting yourself, co-creating with the divine, and putting yourself out there with your highest intention. And maybe, just maybe, it can help even one person, or touch, or move, or connect with one person. That's all that matters to me. I invite you to try, and whatever it looks like, because your voice in this arena is really important. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you have an excellent weekend, and I hope that maybe you might, I don't know, create a little bit. See ya.